Hello, New York Rock leaders. Welcome back for another thrilling financial training, mini training, maybe. I'm trying to make these as quick and painless as possible to help folks just get their arms around managing a multi-million-dollar corporation, which is essentially what you all do as board members every day, which can be a lot of pressure. So hoping to mitigate some of that and help you feel prepared and knowledgeable, particularly around financials. So today we're going to be talking about trending reports. Most of you have heard me wax poetic about trending reports. So what is it when I talk about trending reports? What am I saying? I'm talking about taking a look at your financial reporting in the context of other months and even other years, right? So what it does is just a tool, really, essentially a tool that allows you to line up month to month and look at the trends of account balances, income, expenses, so you can better understand where you stand today by looking at the past. And how can it help me and my rock and my board? That's a good question. It helps you follow the money, right? If you are looking at things in context, it can help you much better understand what those numbers mean, right? So when I first started this job, I would be looking at folks' financial statements and say, what could possibly be wrong here? They have $20,000 in their working capital account, right? Their rainy day fund. But what I've learned over time, and those of you who have been on the board for longer probably know this too, is those numbers mean nothing without the context of numbers that came before and even projecting into the future numbers that we can anticipate, right? So budgeting is projecting into the future, right? Anticipating what the numbers are going to look like. But the trending report is really looking into the past and seeing where do we stand now in compared to where we stood a month, 6 months, a year ago, and how can that help us make better informed decisions by understanding more clearly where we stand today through looking at history. So in that way, it can be very helpful putting these numbers in context. Otherwise, we're just flying by the seat of our pants if we don't know where we came from, right? So this is an Excel document that I will send to all of you. If you don't have it yet, you can always reach out to me, as you know, for anything, but also to get a document like this. But we're going to pick apart the details a little bit here. So the first section of the trending report is just taking a look at your income, how much money you're bringing in each month, operating expenses, and then doing some quick math to see, are we running a deficit or a surplus this month? And you can see I've scrunched it so that you can see January only, but this would typically play out over an entire year. And you could even look at it year to year, like compare a March to a March of the year before, right? If that were something that would be helpful. The next section, and I won't go too much into this because I want to recognize how I've made another video on this topic. If you want to really dig into the different accounts and what they mean, you can certainly do that, but I'm gonna not spend too much time on it here. But you do want to look at these accounts again in context. You want to watch how they go up and down. For example, if your operating account is consistently trending downward, you want to ask, why is that? Are we spending more than we're making each month? Are we, keeping expenses under control, or are they going a bit haywire, right? The same goes for all these accounts to varying degrees, and especially these last two here, accounts receivable and accounts payable. But again, that's more discussed in the 6 things video. The next section you're looking at is just explaining what happened, right? If you had an operating deficit, you want to explain why, right? And that's just an opportunity for you to step back and say, okay, we did run a deficit this month. I want to make sure I understand how that happened and how we can make sure it doesn't happen again. If the escrow wasn't transferred, you want to know why, right? And that would be a discussion with you and your lender. And if you spent money from your capital reserve, from your replacement reserve account, you are going to want to know what you spent that on, what capital improvements you made this month, and any justification for those expenses. And then the last section on the trending report is just keeping track of your occupied versus your vacant homes, right? And vacant lots. So you always want that occupied homes number to be trending up, 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 and vacant homes and vacant lots trending down, right? The more occupied homes you have, the more lot rent you have coming in, the more financially stable you are going to be, right? So I just want to say that this is not rocket science. This report is really just to help you pick the numbers out of the location that they are in on whatever reports you get from your property manager, plunk them into that trending report. So every month, the treasurer, the finance committee, and the board can have one document they look at very simply that says, how are we doing this month? And more importantly, how are we doing in relation to other months, right? What are the trends we're seeing, and what do we need to ask the experts, such as a property manager, about in more detail? So thanks everybody. As always, questions, comments, feel free to pop them in below or reach out to me directly. Appreciate your time, and I hope you have a lovely day.